What's going on, Niner Empire? I'm back with the 49ers report. Cam Rogers coming at you. Check me out on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. I've got 9 juicy rumors to get through. Let's start things off with Eric Reid. Is he coming back to Santa Clara? Giving this one jet head, a little truth to this report. So quite a few layers to this Reid story here. First, it was reported the 49ers were actually interested in bringing him back. Then Pro Football Talk noted that Reid would sign a 1-year deal for the same salary as last year, as you see on your screen, $5.68 million. But apparently the 49ers don't have an offer for him, and from what I understand, there really isn't too much interest there. And on top of that, he is visiting with the Bengals. So you got all that? Yeah, a whole lot to this whole Eric Reid deal. So in all, the 49ers are likely not bringing him back. I like where they are at safety with Colbert, with Tart, with Jimmy Ward as well. Now, Reid has been vocal about not getting a chance in terms of the free agent market due to his protests during the national anthem. It looks like now there is some interest, at least from the Cincinnati Bengals side of things, but don't expect Eric Reid to be with the 49ers in 2018. So one jet head on that one. What does the jet head scale actually mean here? Well, I have a rumor meter to explain. 0 jet heads. Fake news. Do not believe in that rumor. 1 jet head. There's little truth to the report. 2 jet heads firmly in that rumor category, so something simmering. 3 jet heads were faithful in the accuracy, and then 4 jet heads, it's happening. It's very close to becoming news. Let's get to rumor number 2 now here on the 49ers report. Are the Niners drafting Arden Key? So I talked about this in one of the recent episodes. 2 jet heads here, so still firmly in the rumor category. We have a follow-up to this rumor. So Ian Rappaport reporting that Arden Key is present in Santa Clara right now, working out for the 49ers. The question is, do the 49ers really want to roll the dice on Key, who could be available in round 2? Now, Solomon Thomas could use a nice piece opposite him on that defensive line. Eric Armstead isn't very good, and Cassius Marsh is more of a rotational guy. The 49ers select at number 59 overall in that second round. Whether Key is available remains to be seen, but perhaps with some trades and some movement throughout that second round, maybe the 49ers get in a spot where they feel that Arden Key is in good position there to be drafted. We'll see what happens. 2 jet heads on this one. Of course, edge rusher, a position of need for San Francisco. All right, rumor number 3, is Quenton Nelson a fit for the 49ers? And we have talked about this before on the program. 2 jet heads, and I'm bringing it up again because Matt Barrows of the Sacramento Bee recently answered this question in one of his mailbags. And here's what he said. I'm reporting his words, not mine. Quote, "The answer is yes, he'd fit. Everyone I've spoken to has said he's the top offensive lineman in the draft and warrants a top 10 pick, which is rare for a guard. But he's not the ideal guard for San Francisco." So he almost kind of covers 2 bases here. So yes, he's a top talent. Yes, he would fit in the 49ers scheme. But no, he's not the ideal Kyle Shanahan, quick, agile guard that you're looking for in that zone blocking scheme. I'm telling you this much. If Quenton Nelson is there at number 9, you better believe the 49ers are going to give him a very hard look. And I'll talk about Quenton again later in the show when I go through my updated list of top first-round targets there for the 49ers at number 9 overall. All right, let's get to rumor number 4 here. So this is very much a developing story. So this coming out a few moments ago from The Athletic that, well, the DA's office has said we will be announcing our decision soon on whether or not to press charges on Reuben Foster. Foster reportedly isn't slated to make an appearance tomorrow during this arraignment, according to documents. So what that tells me, and I'm no Harvard law student here or anything, but maybe no charges will be filed here for Reuben Foster, and he may get away from the due process of constitutional law here. So he gets away with that, but let's remember, the NFL has a much different burden of proof, if you will, and Roger Goodell could easily just smack down a 6-game suspension like that. So will Reuben Foster play the entire 2018 season? I want you guys weighing in. Let me know in the comments section on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. Very much a developing story. In fact, I just saw some information on my phone here where it was indicating that the NFL's review is very much ongoing. So even though this may be a minor win for 49ers fans out there in terms of potentially no charges for Reuben Foster, the NFL is still very much investigating this situation. And we may not have any decision on the NFL's end for some time here. So certainly keep it right here on the 49ers Report with the latest. Let's get to the next rumor here. Are the 49ers going to draft Calvin Ridley? So this is a situation here where I looked into a mock draft and a rankings from Bleacher Report, and they talked about how he would perhaps be a good fit for the 49ers. I'm going to tell you why it probably won't be, but before we get there, a quick thank you and a word from our sponsor, Mizzen & Main. So as you see there, one jet head on that one for Calvin Ridley going to the 49ers at number 9. Look, wide receiver is of mild need, but certainly doesn't warrant a number 9 pick here. And there are more pressing needs. You look at linebacker, you look at edge rusher, and obviously guard as well. However, I have mentioned some wide receivers in the past to kind of look into. Auden Tate, EQ St. Brown, perhaps James Washington. Maybe there's some interest there. There's a really good crop of wide receivers outside of the Ridleys and the Suttons of the world, to be honest with you. So expect the 49ers to look at wide receivers, especially in the later rounds, but not Calvin Ridley. So I'm giving this one jet head here. But how about Roquan Smith? That's rumor number 6 on our list. And Mel Kiper's latest mock draft has Roquan going to the 49ers. 2 jet heads here. I'm really coming around to Roquan coming to San Francisco. I think he'd be a very solid pickup. He's a rangy, intelligent player, would be fantastic in pass coverage. Plus, with the Reuben Foster situation ongoing, having some insurance at linebacker certainly can't hurt. Now, if Bradley Chubb is somehow there at number 9, then you sprint to the podium and you get Chubb. If Quentin Nelson is there, you sprint even faster and get Quentin Nelson there at number 9. But let's say Chubb and Nelson are gone, I think Roquan Smith is very much in that conversation to be drafted at number 9 overall if the 49ers don't trade back, which is a scenario that certainly could go down. All right, rumor number 7 here. So some fun scheduling rumors. Could it be Packers versus 49ers in Week 1 on Sunday Night Football? 2 jet heads here. As you see, the rumor origin coming from SB Nation. So the Packers are celebrating 100 years at Lambeau Field in 2018 and have reportedly submitted a request for a home opener in Week 1. Now, the NFL is strongly considering making that game on Sunday Night Football. The 49ers travel to Green Bay next season. It certainly would make sense to me to put Jimmy G on the national spotlight, taking on Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, NBC. You gotta love it. Would you want 49ers versus Packers in Week 1? Let me know in the reaction poll here on Facebook Live and YouTube. Give me a heart for yes, a thumbs up for no. There are some other potential options there for Week 1. We talked about it in the previous episode. Could look at the Raiders, could look at the Vikings, maybe the Seahawks, maybe the Rams. But boy, Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Garoppolo on Sunday Night Football Week 1 would certainly be a fun matchup at that. So keep an eye on that rumor. Of course, I'll be tracking it for all of you guys. Rumor number 8 here, Dontae Johnson. Did he find a new team? Well, this is firmly in the rumor category here, but we're getting close to ticking it up a couple of heads. It sounds like Dontae Johnson has found a new team in the Seattle Seahawks, whom he visited with before. So rejoice, 49ers fans. You no longer have to watch Johnson get burned in the secondary. He was not very good for San Francisco a year ago and was lowly ranked, according to Pro Football Focus, as well in the 100s from what I can recall there. So, yeah, not great stuff from Johnson. But for what it's worth, he started all 16 games last year, so some starting experience there for a Seattle team that has faced its fair share of turnover there in the secondary. And oh, by the way, this is basically a Richard Sherman, Dontae Johnson swap. Gee, I wonder who won that one. I think the 49ers certainly did at that. So Johnson likely moving on out. Rumor number 9. Are the 49ers going to draft an all-world punt returner? Firmly in the rumor category as well. 2 jet heads on this one. This coming from NBC Bay Area. And we're talking about Dante Pettis, who had a stellar career with Washington. Returned 4 punt returns for touchdowns. His 9 career touchdowns on punt returns. An FBS record. So really an electric playmaker, somebody that could be of use to San Francisco. Pettis stands at 6 feet, 186 pounds. He's definitely not an outside guy at the wide receiver position, but could see some work in the slot. Now, if the 49ers want a playmaker, a spark plug, this is your guy, no doubt about it. Although Trent Taylor wasn't all that bad as a punt returner a year ago, my suspicion is the 49ers probably want Trent Taylor to be more immense in the slot receiver role rather than returning punts. So maybe they allow Pettis to do that instead.